Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Thursday edition of Today in Sports Betting. It is first 4 day, Scott. Man, it seems like it's been years since we've had an NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it feels kind of odd because I don't remember last year having it.
Oh, no. Last year, bad week last year. And so I'm happy. We've got the games underway. We've got the first four in the new modified 2021 schedule. First four are all going to be played the same night, baby. So we got a couple of 16s going at it. We've got some 11s. It should be just a hoot and a half. So let's get it going.
Well,
and
actually,
by the way,
I wanted to ask you, sorry, before we start, just a quick question. I know that they ended up changing up the schedule. Do you like all four games being on the same night? Because I personally hate it.
oh, I'm fine with it. Yeah, I'm okay.
I personally like the 2 and 2, but that's just me.
I wish they started a little earlier.
I understand why they decided to do it just to pack it all in, but I'm a fan of the 2 and 2. That's just me.
I'd like to see like 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that's how it works. I think 10's something like that. I thought the first game would be like 4 or something like that.
We got just a little bit of bleed over between the Norfolk State game and the UCLA game.
Yeah, I wonder which one the majority of the country is going to be watching.
Norfolk State, still traumatized about that team. So,
Sure
all right, here we go, bud. Yeah, Mizzou fans don't want to talk about the last time Norfolk State was in the tournament. Jesus. And of course, we didn't even get any press that day because the same day Duke lost as a 2.
I remember that.
Yeah, brutal day. So let's get a rocking and rolling. And, Scott, you and I are going to be we're going to be kind of limited here as far as taking all of our bets because you and I have made our picks for the contest. We're selling them as premium plays. So we're going to be able to talk about some totals. We'll talk about some overviews and things like that. But a couple of these sides, we're not going to be able to actually weigh in. So let's get rolling, shall we?
Sounds good to me.
How about a 5-10 game between Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern? Texas Southern is a 1-point dog right now, catching one from Mount St. Mary's, 133.5. Is the total, Scott, and holy mackerel, is if you had to choose between watching paint dry and watching Mount St. Mary's for an entire season, which would you choose?
Well, I'd probably pick the entire season because half their games got canceled.
Well, there you go. This is a Mount St. Mary's team that is the second slowest team in the country behind only Virginia. Unlike Virginia, they don't shoot very well, and they don't rebound. They don't rebound at all, and that's going to be certainly a challenge against this Texas Southern Eagles team that is 10th in the country in rebounding. So if Mount St. Mary's is going to win this one, they're going to have to do it by slowing down the pace, and they're going to have to do it with their outside shooting. So,
well, I just want to say that part of the rebounding numbers are a bit misleading because of the fact that Mount St. Mary's plays such a slow pace. There are less rebounding opportunities. According to rebounding rate, which is based on total rebounding percentage, Mount St. Mary's is actually 28th in the country. So this team might not have a lot of rebounds, and you might look at the stats and go with the leading rebounders averaging like 6 or something like that. But either way, since this team is actually pretty good at rebounding by percentage, I actually think that they can hold their own on the boards in this game because they're actually better at rebounding than Texas Southern, according to the efficiency numbers here. But either way, at the end of the day, it really comes down to who's going to control the pace. These teams just play on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Mount St. Mary's, as you said, is the second slowest in the entire country. Texas Southern is in the top 50. So this team likes to go up tempo, plays very, very fast. And the question is, who's going to control the pace? And if Mount St. Mary's does control the pace, can Texas Southern actually function in the half court? And that, I feel like, is the pressing question in this matchup. And my short answer is no. I like Mount St. Mary's personally. It's the first play of the tournament, so I'll just say what I like there. It's fine. But for the most part, I watched Mount St. Mary's play against Bryant. Bryant's also a fast-paced team, and Mount St. Mary's put the clamps down defensively. The game was also in Bryant, so it was a road game there. But when in doubt, when you have a fast team playing a slow team, I always assume the slow team is going to control the pace. And watching Texas Southern play, this team really struggles in the half court. I think Mount St. Mary's is going to win the game, and I think that you can agree with this A lot of line moves on some of these spreads in these games. Really, like 3 of the 4 games have had huge line moves to them. And Mount St. Mary's went from about a 2-point underdog, 1.5 point underdog to a 1.5 point favorite. So I'm going to back the line move there. I'll go with Mount St. Mary's. Now, for the rest of these, I might not give out many of my spreads, but at the end of the day, it's the first game of the tournament. I'll be generous.
Well, and here's the deal. You and I talked about this a little bit before the show. It's 2 teams that we've probably seen play 2 times each, maybe.
Pure recency bias, because I made money on Mount St. Mary's in the conference title game.
There you go. Yeah, there was pretty good line move. It opened at Pinnacle at -2, and now is, like you said, it has totally swung away around the other side, where Mount St. Mary's is a 1.5 favorite. This is a really tall Texas Southern team, but they cannot shoot, man. They just don't shoot the ball well at all.
They're 41th in tempo. If you watch them play, they pretty much have one guy who does basically everything on offense for this team, and nobody else can do anything. Is that a fair way to sum it up? Because that's kind of how I felt like they ended up making it into this. You have Michael Weathers, who's averaging 16.5 points per game, basically put the team on his back in the conference tournament, had that huge performance, and they ended up winning in overtime. And what I believe was the semis, I think, of their conference tournament. But that was correct, against Jackson State. But overall, I just think that Texas Southern in the half court is going to have to perform. And based on how this team has performed all season long, they really desperately try to get out on a fast break and try to go up tempo. I don't think you can do that against Mount St. Mary's. And Mount St. Mary's just played a fast team in Bryant.
And they're a pesky team. They hound you. They turn you over. And
they also play some zone and some trapping in there. So they do switch up their defensive looks.
Yep.
Which I think will be a problem for Texas Southern to deal with.
Yeah, this is a Texas Southern team that really starts like 4 forwards. And that's just not going to be a good look against Mount St. Mary's. I'm going to back the line move as well. I'll take Mount St. Mary's in this one. The Mountaineers, by the way.
Yeah. Now I know, of course, we don't want to give away too much, but I figured first game of the tournament, why not?
Okay. Well, and I took a total there on my play, and I have that as a premium as well. So
okay.
I can talk about the side freely right there, my friend. Taking a look next. Now, this is the game that I know you're really interested in, and it's Drake and Wichita State. Drake is currently a 2-point favorite in this one, and this is another game where you've had a massive line change. It opened up at Wichita State -2. And it's now Drake minus the 2 points. The total opened up at 139.5 and now sits at 140.5 or 141 most spots. Scott, I know you're a Drake fan. This is a good basketball team, 25-4 on the season, and they were a money-making machine as they covered 11 in a row, 12 in a row.
11? It was like 18.
They covered. I didn't cover 18 in a row.
I thought they did.
I thought they covered. I know they covered a double digit. I don't think it was 18.
I don't remember. I thought it was a lot. I thought it was a lot.
You know what? It was a lot because I can tell you I had a good year because of Drake.
I can actually give you an answer on that, but you can keep talking. But I can give you an answer on that.
I don't want to keep talking. No, this is and again a very good team. Wichita State. They've had their COVID pause. They played just 21 games on the season. They went 16-5. It
was 15 straight.
15 straight. Okay, there you go. We should split the difference, basically. I
have a play today on it, so I can talk about the total, but I'll let you talk about what you think about the side.
Okay. Well, this is this was the toughest game for me because I tend to like, and it could be, and it's a bias on my part, and I have to always be aware of it, but I tend to like the teams that are coming from the better conferences. And I know Drake played Loyola, and I know they lost 2 out of 3 to Loyola. But this is a Wichita State team that went up against Houston. They went up against Memphis. So they've played against arguably one of the Houston top 5 team, top 7 team. What do you call Houston, Scott?
Well, they're a 2 seed, so technically a top 8 team. But I think they're rightfully a 2. We'll put it that way.
Yep, I think that's absolutely right. Now, one thing to be aware of here, this has not been a great zone for Wichita State. They're just 1-5 against the number when the spread, when the total is between 140 and 150. So, for some reason, and again, small sample size, but this Drake team, they lost 2 or 3 coming down the home stretch. They had a bad loss there to Bradley as an 8.5-point favorite. I know they get their leading scorer back, and you and I talked about the difference about what Hemphill is going to be able to bring to the table, coming off a foot injury. He hasn't played since first week in February, right?
February 10th.
So there's a question about what he's going to bring in the way of stamina, how good that foot's going to be.
Do you think that's the sole reason why this line has moved so many points, or do you think there are other factors involved?
I think that's probably the biggest factor. I think that's probably good for 2 to 2.5 points of that. And I think maybe people start talking amongst each other and go, well, this Drake team covers a lot. Look how often they cover. But, they didn't do that coming down the home stretch. They covered just 2 of their last 5 games. Wichita State, they were no great shakes. They barely snuck by South Florida as a double-digit favorite after whomping them the game before, earlier in the week. But they then turned around and played them in the tournament, and South Florida played them tough. They didn't get knocked out by Cincinnati, who was, let's say, inconsistent at best. We would generously put that. And now they're squared off with Drake.
It is
this is Wichita State.
Sorry, just to throw it out there, it is worth mentioning that Wichita was a bit shorthanded for that conference tournament because of some COVID issues, but they should be at relative full strength for this game.
Yeah, that's right. They were missing Wade and Seymour.
They're not huge scorers, but considering the fact Wichita likes to keep a rotation of about what do you think, like 8 guys, basically?
Yeah, up until
they
then,
play a decent amount of minutes.
So up until the game against Cincinnati, this is a Wichita State team that playing very good basketball.
Yep.
They'd won 8 straight, including a nice win over Houston, beating the Cougs 68-63 as a 7.5-point dog. But the money is moving towards Drake. So, this was a tough one for me, Scott, but I didn't end up making a pick. So, and I know you've got a pick on this one as well. You got any thoughts on the total?
I'm very confused by the over money. I don't really understand it at all, but I guess I'm going to lean to the over. It's mostly involving Drake with its recent performances, as 6 of the last 7 have gone over. Wichita, though, I'm not a big fan of this team's offense. Just looking through the actual breakdown of points, besides ETN, do they really have anybody who can do anything on offense, like in terms of creating his own shot?
No, they certainly don't. They certainly don't have the depth. They certainly don't have that second scorer like they've been known to have in the past. There's no compliment to Fred VanVleet at this time.
Yeah, but the way that I look at this matchup is that both these teams also don't play relatively fast. So I'm kind of confused why there's so much over money in this matchup. I don't know. Between these two teams with a team where the pace isn't going to be that fast, I probably would have leaned under, but it's kind of a no commitment play here because I really don't understand this over money.
Yeah, it's a Wichita State team. They don't shoot that well. They're a decent 3-point shooting team, but they shoot just 41% from the field. So the good news is they play pretty good defense, and they allow just about 41% from the field as far as their defense goes. They aren't great at 3-point defense.
I don't know if any of these teams are getting to 70, and yet the total's gone over 70. I mean, gone over 140. I really think this game's going to be in the 60s.
Well, yeah, I guarantee you people are, and by the way, there's no accounting for what the American public with a fistful of $1,400 is going to do the first day of the NCAA tournament. I guarantee you they're listening to the talking heads, and the talking heads are going, well, this Drake team, they finished over the total in 6 of their last 7. So I'm going to play the over. And you don't really look the fact that in those last 3 games, Drake put up 61, 71, and 65. Meanwhile, number one, Wichita State's been playing very good defense. They haven't given up. They haven't given up 70 in their last 8 games. 70 is the highest total that has been reached against them in the last 8 games, and that got hit one time.
If I had to play it, I would lean to the under, but
yeah.
I really don't understand this line move.
Yeah, I don't think there's any over money for me here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. All right. Moving on, my friend. Taking a look here at the at App State and Norfolk State. App State is currently a 3-point favorite.
I'll give you a common courtesy. I'll let you abstain from talking about Norfolk State, if that helps.
Yeah, as a Mizzou alum, the last time Norfolk State was in the tournament, it was 2012, and they beat the Missouri Tigers when the Missouri Tigers were a 2 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Just brutal. So this opened at 2.5. It's now 3.5. Most places total open at 135.5. It has come down to 133. So yeah, I've got to play here on the side. Let me talk about that total move a little bit. That's a pretty substantial move for a tournament game. It's not as big as some of the ones we've seen, but that's certainly a pretty big move to the under. Do you agree with that line move?
I think I have to. The thing is, it's kind of the same idea as what we just talked about with Drake and Wichita. Now, I know, of course, those teams are better, but you're talking about 2 teams that don't play fast at all. Appalachian State ranks 310th in offensive tempo. Meanwhile, Norfolk State ends up ranking 221st. So you're not exactly looking at teams that are going to go up and down and shoot the ball really quickly. It's not going to be as slow as the Mount St. Mary's game should be. But at the end of the day, I understand the under move because Appalachian State throughout its conference tournament was pretty kind to under bettors before the title game against Georgia State. So I expect a low scoring game. I think that this game could come down to the wire, but I do think that this total has rightfully moved down. So for that reason, if I had to play it, I'd take the under because Appalachian, that team really just loves to take 28 seconds off the shot clock every time. They live for it.
Yeah, this is a Norfolk State team that saw the under cash 5 of the last 6 games for them. And they did it with defense there in the MEAC. Now, I will tell you, Scott, the MEAC has underperformed in first 16 games. They have never beat the spread.
I'm sure they also never beat a 2 seed before 2012. Sorry, you had it. It was laying there. I had to take it. I'm sorry.
It was not laying there. No.
I thought it was.
The one thing about this team, they played Coppin State 4 times. Coppin State went 3-1 against them. And Coppin State is a team that's very similar to Appalachian State in that they take a shit ton of 3-point shots. Appalachian State, in no universe are they a good shooting team. You know how they make up for it, Scott?
They take a lot of them.
They take a lot of them. That's right. That's exactly right. They take a ton of them.
I think the secret is the coaching staff just doesn't tell them how bad they are at it, and they keep the confidence level high, and they'll keep shooting it. Giving
them a real participation trophy there. Norfolk State, they've been good against the number, man. They've covered 7 of their last 8. But Appalachian State, they've covered 4 straight and 5 of their last 6. So it's a battle. It's unlike a lot of battles you see in the first 4. You've got 2 teams that are actually playing really good basketball right now. Appalachian State, they got off the mat. They were nowhere in Mole Frere. I think they had dropped 6 straight there.
They're dead to rights about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no question about it. And they ran through the tournament, and we had to win 4 straight, and that's exactly what they did, as they won and covered all 4 tournament games, including a game against Georgia State where they were a 7-point dog and ended up winning it comfortably by 7. So, how do you got the total here?
I have to lean to the under. Appalachian just lives to hold on to the ball. And as you talked about before, if Appalachian doesn't go nuts from 3, could be a pretty hideous shooting display.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're gonna see a lot of iron there, buddy.
And you know that if Appalachian keeps missing 3s, they're not going to get discouraged. I'll tell you that.
No, they're like the Citadel. Mm-hmm. They never met a shot they didn't like.
They might be down 40, but they're still going up tempo shooting with 20 seconds. Like, it's the same idea. Just some teams are just so ingrained with their identity that they can't stray from it if things go awry.
Right. The coaches in the locker room at halftime going, Coach, we've only made 3 3-pointers. Well, the problem is you're not taking enough.
Yeah, that's the problem. So you've taken 15 in the first half. You got to bump up those numbers. There's a rookie number.
You better take 25 in the second half.
The way that I see it is that I just think Appalachian's going to keep chucking. And the question is, do you think that Appalachian has a good shooting performance or not? Based on what I've seen in the regular season, I have to assume that it'll be somewhere among the norm. And if that's the case, they're going to get a lot of empty trips and a lot of bad shots. So I like the under personally.
You know what arena this was in? Did you look it up?
Are
they playing at Assembly? Are they playing at Purdue? Where they're playing?
I'm going to check that right now just to confirm.
Get on that, would you? Get right on that, buddy.
You can keep talking. I got you.
Yeah, it makes a difference because as far as the shooting background, I'm a big fan of fading the teams that are going from a small college atmosphere to big arenas.
It's an Assembly Hall.
Okay, so that's 13,000, 14,000 probably Assembly Hall there, 12,000.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's a legit arena there at the campus of Indiana.
About 17K.
Okay, there you go. So
I have to like the under even more. The Rim saw Indiana play for a full season.
That's what I'm saying. This is two small schools. Well, Appalachian State mid-major, but
I just want to take a jab at Indiana. It seemed like a good opportunity to do it.
Never a bad time to take a jab at Indiana.
They don't have a head coach now, so it's kind of just sitting there for me.
I'll play the under here with you minus at the 133.5. Okay, Scott. Now the game that probably the vast majority of people care about. It is the closer. It is the night game. Oh, Scott, you're gonna have to stay up late for this one.
Past my bedtime, even though we record at 1 a.m.
I know, man. It's gonna bump right up against our recording. That's gonna suck. It really
shouldn't be that bad. It starts at when, like 10 o'clock?
9:55 is a slated time, so
yeah, so it'll probably end at like midnight.
We'll see what they have to wait for it to be over there. So
that's fine.
Michigan State, UCLA, Scott. Michigan State -2. This game has remained pretty static. It opened up at actually I lied. It opened up UCLA -1. It's now swung around to Michigan State minus the 2 point. Public has come down heavy.
I said it when we just started the show. 3 of these 4 games have had serious line moves on the side.
Yep, 69% of the money is on the Spartans at this time. Opened up at 137.5. That number has plunged, my friend, down to 134.5, 135 most spots. I know you and I were talking before about the under money, and we think that's the right move. I'm not sure how much value is left at 137.5. Man, I like that a lot better at 137.5 than I do at 134.5.
I can't take an over with the UCLA game. I can't do it. You're just looking at these two teams. Mick Cronin is another one of these guys who just loves to hold the ball for 27 seconds every single time. And you look at UCLA's pace this season, 332nd in the country, which sounds right on par with what Cincinnati used to be when Cronin was there.
Yep.
At the same time, you have Michigan State, who is 166th, which is actually significantly better. But when Michigan State has played against teams like Michigan, other teams that play extremely slow, Michigan State tends to conform and play a slow style as well. I remember cashing an under ticket with a Michigan State game. Game went under. They played twice, went under in back-to-back games. This team, I just think, is going to be forced into playing slowly with UCLA. Ton of half-court possessions. Plus, I think it's not a secret. Both these teams, despite the actual recognition of the program's name, not very good.
No. I made the point. I think Michigan State's just going to be happy not to see a future NBA lottery pick in the middle, because they see a lot of those with Iowa, Michigan, Illinois, maybe even Purdue. Here's my question, and I talked about this on my personal video. Who's the best team in the Pac-12?
Definitely not Oregon State.
No, definitely not Oregon State.
I'll go with USC on that one.
USC, Oregon. Okay, one of those two.
I'll go with USC, and I know UCLA probably should have beaten them the second time around.
Okay. So how many teams are better than USC in the Big Ten?
It's a great question.
At least 4.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
And you can make a case for 6. You can make a case for Wisconsin and Purdue.
I would never make a case for Wisconsin because I went there and I know how bad they are, but I'll give you 5.
So I'm just saying this Michigan State team again.
They're more battle tested.
Yes, the night in and night out. It should be like a night off for these guys. But you're right. The pace situation. I'm surprised that the under money has come in like that, Scott. It's not really what the public likes to do, and I got a feeling that's a lot of sharp money, brother.
I got to agree.
The public likes to see the teams that they know. They see that name recognition, and they pound the over, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So we might be able to get a little buyback on this. He said optimistically. I don't know. Maybe get it up to 135.5 tomorrow. I would feel a lot better about it at that number because, man, people laugh and they think that 1 point didn't make it. But, man, in those totals in the 130s, you fight for every half point, man.
I kind of like the first half under in that game, honestly, because you never know with the spread being so close if there's going to be a bunch of scramble points. Hell, there might be even be an overtime if you look at the spread.
Sure.
The first half, Cronin is going to come out and try to take the air out of the ball. And I don't exactly think that both teams during a feeling out process are going to come out guns blazing. I don't know.
Yeah, first half number somewhere around 65, I assume.
I'll check right 65.
now. I'm gonna my official guess is going to be 65.5.
Okay. I think that might be a little bit too high, but we'll see.
You think it's too high? 63. What? Huh?
It's 63.
Yeah.
That's why I thought you were a little high. But
yeah. Well, a little high is not a bad way to go through life, my friend.
That is definitely true. But
so, yeah, I'm gonna play the under. I'm gonna wish for better, and I'm gonna look for a better number.
Yeah.
Might take an in game. Hopefully, they get off to a decent start. Maybe put up 4 points a minute for the first 5 minutes, and get that number to creep up there in the high 130s. And I'm gonna pounce on it.
We were not giving away our sides on this one, I kind of just thought it was a good point to start talking about an underrated, maybe false narrative going on in college basketball. Is Tom Izzo actually that good in March? And I know that I'm bringing it up. I'm not trying to. This isn't going to have really much. I'm not trying to telegraph what I took or anything like that. But on one end, you have Mick Cronin. On the other hand, you have Tom Izzo. Bettors over the last couple of years know that both of them are not really that reliable when it comes to their against the spread numbers in March. I know that Izzo, you can make an argument and say, well, in the tournament, they usually make it to the Sweet 16, whatever. He's only won one time, and people act like he's one of the greatest clutch coaches of all time.
I know.
How did that narrative start?
By the fact he makes it every year.
I guess.
You see him in there every year.
I mean, I remember they lost to Texas Tech in the Final Four. Other than that, though, I feel like they always lose in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I'd like to know. I know their stats on it. We'll probably run across them here as we go a little deeper. But I know there's Izzo stats, and I think I can't remember if he runs up against the wall if it's after the first round or if it's after the second round. I got a feeling. I think you're leaning like I am that it's after the second round that he's absolutely.
All I know is I feel a lot better
shit in the Sweet 16. Yeah.
All I know is I feel a lot better getting points with Izzo than laying points with Izzo. That's kind of how I feel in the tournament. Meanwhile, Mick Cronin with Cincinnati, the fact that you can't remember the last good run Cincinnati had in the tournament tells you all you need to know about Mick Cronin's tenure at Cincinnati. Team was always in the top 25.
Great. And see, unlike those Cincinnati teams, this team doesn't play defense.
Yeah, but in general, though, I'm just saying Cincinnati was always a team that was in the top 20 pretty much the entire year. Usually finished around, I'd say, a 4 seed, something like that.
Yeah.
Seemed to always lose in the round of 32, all the time.
Yeah, because that style doesn't translate to the tournament.
And he has the same style at UCLA.
Yeah, except the defense isn't as good. That's the problem. The Cincinnati team, at least the defense was good. They couldn't shoot for shit either. But
my main point I'm trying to say is that I don't exactly trust either coach in this spot, but I can guarantee you the public is all over Izzo in this spot.
Yeah, I promise you that's true. I'll tell you what. I'll give you one nice trend. Play-in games featuring teams that are seeded 12th or better. The under is 12-4 in the last 16.
Okay.
So there's a little nugget for you.
You could have stopped selling. I already bought the under car about 20 minutes ago.
Fair enough. All right, kids. Well, that's it. You got anything else on this card, Scott?
Not really. Just looking at everything else, I really don't have many thoughts on the NIT games. Both spreads are kind of right next to each other. They're both within about a point or two. If I really had to lean anywhere, I guess I would lean to Davidson. I say with a question mark at the end of it, but I really don't trust any of those teams in there. And I think I already made the decision that I have no interest in actually betting the NIT. You used to maybe worry about letdown spots or the fact that, some teams are playing at home and they just want to get out of there. They are still traveling to a neutral now, so it's not exactly the same. I don't know. I don't really want anything to do with the NIT, honestly.
Yeah, well, it's such no, not after tonight. I got on the narrative of the Western Kentucky not being motivated thing, and that ended up not being the case at all.
I thought it made all the sense in the world, but St. Mary's had a couple of opportunities late, didn't capitalize on it. You had an overtime draw before that blocking fell. But I think the bigger shocker was Toledo and what happened there. We both were right about the under.
Yeah.
But that Toledo game, I liked Richmond before the injuries. Then I turned because I kind of had to because I didn't know who Richmond
absolutely
players, and Toledo forgot how to play, which that part didn't surprise me.
Well, hell, I had that. I had that as a premium, and I had it capped at Toledo minus 2.5. Fuck, we beat the line move by 2.5 points. I'll take that every day.
Every now and then, you need to be reminded when you watch a round of the NIT. There's a reason why these teams didn't make the tournament, and you can't really trust half of these teams. So
I know.
I have no interest.
Well, it's just that's the thing. Sometimes
it's all about beating the number.
But it is. But
then you take it.
Sometimes you tend to overreact to injury news, and we had a great case of it.
I don't even know if you can overreact if you're without your best two players.
I understand, but it sometimes it just doesn't matter. We had the case in the NBA tonight. Which game was in the NBA?
The Nets are a good example. Kyrie didn't play. The Nets won.
That's right. That was right with Kyrie. And he ended up not playing, and they rolled, So, it's injuries are very important until that time they're not.
The only thing I know is that for the NIT, what I usually did was I would always take pretty big underdogs and let down spots in the first round, and then I would never touch the tournament ever again. That was usually how I went through betting the NIT, and it was usually profitable. But now, since it's in a neutral and they're actually, I don't even know. I figured
I loved playing the CTI and the CBI.
Yeah, but I think you agree with me that when you have the one seed in the NIT, they lose in the first round half the time because they just don't want to be there.
Well, they play at home, and about 400 people show up. And
400 people show up, and they realize if we lose right now, it's like the South Park episode when the kids try to lose in Little League.
The Little League game. Oh yeah, that's funny.
And it's just like, oh, we're already home. Yeah, if we just lose, we can just go to the cafeteria and get some food. Like
go to the parties later and not have to worry
about it.
They're
already traveling to neutral in Texas now, and it's just like I feel like that might force them to care more. Am I wrong for feeling that way?
Being forced to care more? No.
Kinda. I mean, you're traveling there. It's not like you can just go home. It's like you have to fly back. I mean, it's kind of a huge difference,
Coach is like, we spend good money on these plane flights, so
yeah, you got room service and all.
At least you can do is go out there and perform. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, well, I think the NIT is well named because about half the time I feel like a nit after I bet on it. So,
once again, I think you'd agree that in previous years, the long underdogs usually pay out pretty well because the favorites kind of sleepwalk their way through it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I can't factor that in anymore for this year, so I have to just lose.
You'll see the good teams eventually rise to the top a lot of times and, end up
also playing. Reduce the length of the tournament because you have 16 teams where some teams might look at it and say, oh, we only have to win X amount of games, where in previous years, it's like, oh, we got to win like 6 games.
You had to win 2. You had to win 2 at home, and then you had to go and play 2 on the road, right? So
something like that. But you just
look from 32 to 16 to 8 to 4. No, you had to win 3. Yeah.
Yeah, but the point is that most of the teams would just look at it and go, like, do I really want to do this for another 2 weeks?
So tired of basketball. Except, there's always the one gym rat kid that would just play. He'd be there anyway. And
those teams usually end up doing well. There are a couple of teams that are motivated. It's just. This year, I feel like most teams are equally motivated because they had to actually travel and they skipped the first 2 rounds where most letdown spots occur.
Hey, was Cousy related to Bob Cousy, the kid that was playing for
St. Mary's?
For St. Mary's?
I have to assume so, but he's not very good.
He couldn't miss when I watched him play.
I turned it on late, and he just forced a lot of really, really questionable decisions.
You should have been there earlier.
That was the thing, is that the game went over. I turned it on with about 4 minutes to go, and I saw nobody score for the first 3 minutes, and I thought, how did this game get into the 130s? But I missed like the first 37 minutes of the game.
Well, that'll do it. Nope, it's not. He's not related. Just spelled different.
Oh, okay.
It was annoying because they don't have their names on their jerseys.
No.
So they kept saying Cousy, and he certainly was like a little short dude that could have been Bob Cousy's grandson or great grandson or whatever the hell. But
what's the loophole around the player licensing? You just don't.
He's not
in the back, and you get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. Cousy was one of 4 from 3.
I turned it on. I think I saw 2 of those misses.
Yeah. You look at the numbers, and they didn't shoot that well. But I swear to God, that Dukas, it just killed me. 3 of 5.
The first half.
Yeah. And
whatever.
Anyway, yeah. And then Western Kentucky, they've shot very well from 3 as well. So yeah, what are you going to do? I love the under there. I'll play that under every day.
I was not surprised Bassey played well. That was the only thing I somewhat expected. I know Hollingsworth is a pretty good guard. I just thought St. Mary's would look a little bit more focused defensively, and they just weren't for the first.
I don't know. Bassey didn't dominate. He got a
double though.
Picked up a couple fouls. He went 19 and 11.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay. All right, buddy. That's going to do it. As always, if you're looking for more information on these games or any other games, there is just one stop for you to take, and that is over there at winnersandwhiners.com. Deep dives, every game, full predictions, always free. Man, if you have any questions about MEAC teams or NEC teams, Patriot League, whatever it is, he's got some guys over there that eat, drink, and sleep small college basketball, including my partner in crime right here, Scott Reichel, probably has the widest knowledge base of college basketball of anybody I know, because a lot of times you get these guys who are talking heads, they'll make notes and they go through all this shit and they sound really smart when they're on air. Okay. They'll have all these facts, but Reichel, if you talk to him in just a regular conversation about college basketball, he knows players. I would say you go 3 or 4 deep on 100 rosters. 150 rosters?
Yeah, it could be around there.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Can't say we've ever actually tested it, but that sounds about right.
Don't do drugs, kids. There's your proof right there. You keep your brain clean, and you can have a brain like Reichel.
Well,
so
people will just assume that I'm on Adderall half the time, but I get your point.
I don't. I'm not pointing any finger. Whatever it is, fucking works for you. So
the secret is just having no life besides sports. That's really just
well, and that's certainly been even amplified here over the last year. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, I'm trying to throw in a compliment, and he's taking compliments about like he's been betting lately. So
I try to be modest.
You're very good. Anyway, so that's going to do it for us. You guys are the best. I appreciate you watching every day. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, all that stuff. If you're interested in the contest, if you're interested in our Madness contest, definitely go over there and check it out. You get 3 cappers for the price of 1. You can get any one of us individually, but then for less than like double the money, you can have all 3 of us. You can have consensus picks. I guarantee you, at least one of us is going to be hot. I don't know if it's going to be me. I don't know if it's going to be Scott. I don't know if it's going to be David. At least one of us will be hot. I've been profitable. I've told you this before. This 8 years in a row, I've bet every NCAA tournament game. I have yet to not turn a profit. So take that for what you will. If that's not the screaming jinx for this year, I don't know what is. But historically, I have been very good at this time of year. I know you have a knowledge base, and you're very good as well. And Dave is the master of totals. We have included totals in the contest, by the way, everybody.
Ooh.
So you're truly getting our best play, because Dave is he's the king of totals in college basketball. I will give him that crown.
There's a $5,000 prize, and he negotiates his way to totals.
He worked very hard to get the totals included as part of the contest, and he did it. So it's good news for people to get the premium picks, because they're truly getting the best pick from that game. They're not just getting our best side when we really like a total better. So you know who wins, Scott, besides Dave? Probably it's the customer. So that's a beautiful thing. So make sure you stop by and check that out. Go over there. We'll include the link in this video. You can just click on that and get yourself registered. And the best part about it is, if we don't win, you don't pay. We will give you the rest of the tournament absolutely free. You'll get the next 4 rounds, 5 rounds, I don't know, whatever the hell it is. You'll get the round of 32, the round of 16, the round of 8, the round of 4, and the national championship game. All absolutely free if we don't win in this first round. No pressure, buddy.
I'm okay with it. Truth is, You said you've been betting every game in the tournament for years. It's the first time I've actually bet every game in the tournament, but this year has been very profitable. So I have to feel pretty confident about my chances. But next thing you know, we're going to submit our picks, and then 15 people get COVID. and we'll see what happens.
Everything's out the window.
Yeah.
Well, to quote my favorite actor of all time, welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah.
All right. You guys have a great day. Thanks very much for joining us, for all of us over
Willis
here.
Is your favorite actor?
What?
Bruce Willis is your favorite actor?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. What?
I know a Die Hard reference when I hear it. I just wouldn't have expected that to be your favorite actor.
He's got chops. He's got range. He's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
For myself,
and
for
Bruce
Scott
Willis is okay too.
What?
And Bruce Willis is okay too.
You started the show interrupting me, and you're going to fucking finish it up that way, aren't you?
I kind of have to, right? Got to be consistent. Anyway, you can wrap it up.
I'm going to let you start closing the show. I swear to God.
Ooh, a promotion.
And I'm going to be interrupting Cal. For me, for Scott Reichel, see, I need all my brain power just to keep the outro in line now that you've fucking yapped over it. Okay, here we go. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Winers, we appreciate you watching. Thanks very much. Wish you nothing but the best of luck. Hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. You guys have a great day. Let's kick it off in style, shall we? And we'll be back to do it again tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Peace.